Hey, welcome back, Movie Misfits. Today is Throwback Thursday, which means another round of Junk Drawer Flicks. So let's take a look at our junk drawer and see what we got. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. On this week's episode of Junk Drawer Flicks, we'll be doing a review of Night of the Living Dead, a 1990 version directed by Tom Savini. I'm sure you're probably thinking, hey, why are you doing the 1990 remake? Remakes suck. Why aren't you doing the 1968 George Romero classic? The Night of the Living Dead 1968 version, directed by George Romero, starring Dwayne Jones, is an ultimate classic. However, the 1990 version is highly underrated and actually a very good movie, and I want more people to check it out. Night of the Living Dead 1990 version is directed by makeup artist, stuntman, actor, director Tom Savini. This film was written and produced by George Romero, and also produced by original creator Jack Russo. This film also stars Tony Todd taking the role of Ben, and actress Patricia Tallman is taking the role of Barbara in this film. So what I've read and understood about why they made a remake of this film was because in the original 1968 version of Night of the Living Dead, writer-director George Romero and also friend and producer Jack Russo, when they made the film, they did not do a copyright. So however, while the movie was being played in theaters everywhere and the movie was a big hit, however, they were not getting paid for all the distribution of the film. So in order to make up for that, they wanted to remake the movie. However, George Romero wanted to do the writing for it, of course, and also Jack Russo wanted to be a part of the film as well. So George said, I would write this film, and however, instead of directing it himself, he wanted directing duties to go to Tom Savini. So Tom Savini had been a part of many of George's films, such classics as Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Tom was never a part of the original Night of the Living Dead. From what I understand, he was actually sent to Vietnam and was not a part of that film, unfortunately. So hopefully I'm correct on that information. So since Tom wasn't involved with the original Night of the Living Dead, when it came around to doing the remake, George felt that Tom would be the right person for the job as far as directing. The 1990 Night of the Living Dead movie opens up similar to the way of the original Night of the Living Dead film. It opens up with a brother and sister, Barbara and Johnny, heading to the cemetery to visit their mother. Johnny, played by actor Bill Moseley. It's actually pretty cool to see Bill Moseley playing a character in this film that is not a villain. So even though his part's very small, it's actually pretty cool to be seeing Bill Moseley play a good guy for a change. So what's good about this remake is if you've seen the original, you know where the jump scares are going to be. So when you see Barbara and Johnny walking through the cemetery, you expect to see the zombie pop out at the normal part. However, in this remake, Tom Savini thought it was a pretty cool idea to use the original as far as template. However, where you thought the jump scares were going to be, he decided to use misdirection. So when you thought something was going to pop out here like it did in the original film, something else actually came out to you from the other side. Tom Savini has always said makeup artists are like magicians. They're always trying to trick you. So I feel like having a makeup artist as a director is actually a good move because he knows how to trick the audience with the special effects that he has and also with scares. Similar to the original film, Barbara escapes the cemetery and makes her way to a farmhouse. And that's when we are introduced to our main hero character. And my God, does our main character make one hell of an entrance. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Todd playing the role of Ben. And I know what you're thinking. This is a remake. Remakes suck. I agree with you. 99% of the time they do. However, there have been some good remakes in the past. Tony Todd plays this role like this is our first time seeing it. He adds more intensity to it. He adds more frustration to it. He also plays this character like he's been dealing with this for at least 4 to 5 hours longer than Barbara has, and he's just already fed up with it. So similar to the original version, Ben has to kind of take control of the situation. He asks Barbara if this is her house, if she has any gas, if she has anything of any use. And however, in this scene, Barbara is very frantic and scared. I wonder why. She just saw her brother die, and there's a bunch of zombies running around, and she does not know what the hell is going on. Ben basically explains to Barbara, hey, my truck is literally on fumes right now. We have no gas. We might be safer just to settle up here at this house and protect it while we can. Maybe help will come along shortly. So basically, Ben has a little talk with her, and he just lets her know, listen, it's just you and me right now, and possibly the end of the world, what's going on right now. As day turns into night, it follows the original film, and also there are people that are in this house also that were hiding out in the basement. They come out of the basement, and naturally Ben and Barbara are freaked out. The casting for Cooper in this film, I felt like was perfect. He was very sinister and also very just like sleazy and just a jerk. And they did such a good job with the casting of him. I felt like you instantly hate him right away, basically. So our new additional characters are Tom and Judy, which are a couple, Cooper and his wife Helen, and they're also their sick daughter, which is downstairs. They explain that she's been bit by one of them crazy people outside. There's a look on Ben's face after they say that he's kind of like, great. I'm gonna have to kill her too. The tension between Cooper and Ben in this version, you could like cut it with a knife. It's just so, it's so almost awkward. It's almost like watching your parents fight. You're kind of like. While Ben and Cooper are constantly fighting during this middle act right here, Barbara goes full Sarah Connor mode. The character's already different than the original film at this point. And actually I think for the better, because the other film, I felt like she was just there to scream and die. I felt like in this film, she had more of a purpose. I do feel like in this version, Ben and Barbara are a lot closer. Even in the scenes where Ben is talking, you know, Barbara's always right behind him. She's always kind of like snuggling up behind him, kind of like, yeah, I'm with him on this one. She's like, this is who I trust. This is the only person I trust right now. So there is a scene where they figure out, hey, there's a gas pump not too far from here. If we find the keys, we could actually fill up Ben's truck with gas. There's an action shot here. I'm not sure if it was purposely done or if it was one of those happy little accidents. But there's a shot that is just so quick, but it's so well done. I feel like if I see Tom Savini, I should be like, good job, sir. You did good here. I noticed it. So the third act of the movie is where things change from the original film. Instead of Barbara dying, she actually runs away, and Ben stays behind because he's been hurt. And he says, go on without me. I'll stay behind and I'll figure it out. And through this scene, you could tell Barbara is like kind of upset that she's leaving him behind. However, she still has to go through miles of farmland and deal with all this nonsense. And so we go to the end of the movie, and the ending of the movie is very different than the original film. I won't go into any spoilers because I do want people to watch this movie because I do feel like this movie needs to be seen more. It's definitely not appreciated like it should be. I feel like in the horror community, yes, it is. Some people really, really, really like it. I remember going to the video store and renting this film. And basically when this film came out, it was kind of like when the zombie craze was kind of dying out. It wasn't really popular anymore like it was in the 70s and the 80s. So the zombie craze was kind of over when this film came out. So I think this movie disappeared even when it was released. This film does a very good job to sticking to the original story. How could it not? It was written by the same person. So I do feel like Tom Savini did a good job as far as keeping the same vibe as the original film. And every time I see this film, I thought the same thing in the early 90s when I first rented this film as a little kid. Damn, Tony Todd is good in this film. He is so good in this movie. I can't say it enough. I'm like, give the man more dramatic parts. He highly deserves more dramatic parts because his performance in this film is really good.
God damn you! God damn all of you!
Patricia Tallman's portrayal as Barbara is actually very good in this film as well. She plays the part and beyond, I would say, too, because she actually gives character arc to this film. Like I said, she goes from being the scared victim into turning into Sarah Connor all in this movie, and it's done very well. I don't know if this movie is currently streaming anywhere. I have this in my own collection, and I wanted to give a shout out to this movie because I can't say it enough. This movie needs to be seen a lot more. If you want to see a good remake that's not The Fly or The Thing, and if you want to see a good zombie movie at the same time, check out 1990's Night of the Living Dead starring Tony Todd and Patricia Tallman. I'm sure it's currently streaming somewhere. Please check it out. I'm Mike the Movie Misfit, and I'll see you at the movies. The Living Dead classic? I agree. The 19...